Hi everyone and welcome to the channel, and this is the third video of the VMware automation course with Terraform. So I'd assume that you have already completed the requirements from the last video for preparing your computer to support Terraform. If it's already done, then we can move on to the first tutorial on creating our first virtual machine using Terraform. If you're not following the course from the beginning, so this is a series, this is a training course, and there's a playlist for that course sorting all of the videos. I will be putting the link in the description to the playlist. Otherwise, you please feel free to explore my my YouTube channel. All right, so assuming that this was done, and no, not this. I mean the setup was done. Okay, on your machine, then we are ready to move on with the lab. But let's have this. Let's have this page here. Okay, so first things first, let's have a very quick look at my lab. This is my vCenter server, and I have here one physical server, and if we can see closer, I have here one cluster, and the cluster has 3 A6i hosts with it and 1 VM. The entire cluster was, or I can say 95% of the operations for this cluster was provisioned using Terraform, meaning that the cluster itself was provisioned by Terraform. These hosts were enrolled into the cluster via Terraform, and that VM, the data store, the distributed virtual switch, etc., were all provisioned by Terraform. So this is how, the infrastructure as a code using Terraform is really, really powerful, especially if you have a big or a huge environment. It will make your life easier, and even I find it quicker and ideal than just using PowerShell. You can never stop using PowerShell. PowerShell you'd still need, of course, to do some operations, but when it comes to provisioning and making changes to resources, you can definitely depend on Terraform. All right, first things first, we need to open the VS Code. All right. VS Code. Now we have VS Code open, and we need to explore the building blocks of Terraform, of course. But I need first to create a directory. So on my laptop here, I have a directory called code, and I will create within it a new directory. Okay. You can do the same, create a folder on your Windows machine or Linux or whatever operating system you're using. I will make something, I will call it Terraform Course code, TF course code, and then within that one I will create a new folder. I will call it, this is the third video, so I will call it 003 and first TF VM, TF VM, right? 003. I made a mistake here. Yeah. So again, 003 the dash Terraform dash VM 01, and that's it. Okay. No. So that should be MK Dyer first, and then 003, and yes, so nothing in here, and it will appear up there, over there. All right, here is the first directory, and I will create the first code file within it. I will explain in detail later on, but again, if you have no experience at all with Terraform, I'd strongly recommend that you take a course for Terraform, okay? Because this course is again focusing on vSphere. Okay, I will call this file main.tf, and let's keep it empty for now, and let's grab the code. and let's check what are the building blocks here. So we need to grab a code. If you remember from last time, we had that page or explore the HashiCorp website. So that's what we are going to do. We can just in Google, we can type Terraform virtual machine code. That's it. Or we can just go to the website and pick it up ourselves. Let's go there, and yeah, it has landed automatically on the virtual machine resource page of code. And oh, sorry, this is Azure RM. No, it should have been vSphere. Oh, it's a mistake here. So let's go to again Terraform vSphere. You need to be specific. Virtual machine, because the same code for it opened the page for Azure, it won't work for VMware, or yeah, and I will tell you why in a second. Okay, so there are few examples here of codes that you can copy and paste and make changes according to your preferences. And at the bottom of the page there are several parameters that you can use for different scenarios and different options, different settings that could be used for your implementation. We don't necessarily need to go through this, but you know now. And when we start what is called Terraform planning, okay, the Terraform planning, I will explain a bit more. By the way, I hate long videos, so my video should not exceed 20 to 30 minutes max. So I might need to split this video into two halves, hopefully not three, because the topic is simple. So just bear with me. Yeah. All right. What are the building blocks for Terraform here? So Terraform, again, it's the code, but there are building blocks within. How would you tell Terraform that you'd like to create a VMware resource or an Azure resource or an AWS resource, etc., etc.? Copying and pasting a code from here doesn't work just right out of the box as is. You need to tell Terraform, instruct Terraform that you'd like to manage vSphere or Azure or whatever. So one of the key building blocks of Terraform, something called providers, which is this one, which is provider, but I will not use that code because it lacks something that we need. So this is the provider for vSphere. So here it says, this is code of block is for Terraform, and here it says use this version of the provider, because of course, if you can see also at the top here it says, where is it? Yeah, this is the version of the provider for vSphere. So the company HashiCorp, it develops a new provider whenever necessary for enhancements, improvements to the code, or maybe if something is new, some new features are introduced by VMware for vSphere and it's not covered by the existing code, then a new release of the code is published. And this is why you need to, on a regular basis, to upgrade your code. Otherwise, you can just remove this and it will automatically pick the most recent one. It depends on how you'd like to use the provider. All right, but I'm not really interested in picking it up from here. Let's go to Terraform providers. I have a spelling mistake here? No. So in that page, you can see a list of the existing providers supported by, which means in the end a product or a vendor that is supported by Terraform. So at Google, Oracle Cloud as well, Kubernetes of course, and Microsoft Active Directory, etc., etc. Okay, so we need vSphere. Okay, I need just to go to this very page because it has a better example for the provider. I will let you know in a second why. So let's pick the code. No, I need the code for the provider actually. No, it went back. Yeah, but it's not actually the right page that I needed, and other documentation. Let me quickly check in here because there's a dedicated page for the provider itself. Yeah, vSphere provider. Let's check if there's a code in here. Yes, that's what I was looking for. So under documentation of the registry here, yeah, I need that page up there on the left pane for the Terraform provider, and there are several examples down below. I just need to pick a simple one. Yeah, for example, let's have this one here for now. Okay, I will explain a bit in a second what that is. Let's go to the code page, and let me just give me a few lines above, because I need to I still need to define the version just for now. It's not mandatory, but I'd like to do so. So I'd like to take that here to define the version that is in use. Okay. Just to highlight something, in this tutorial where I'm using the simplest, following the simplest way of using Terraform, but this is not the best practice. But in the upcoming video, or in the upcoming topic, we will apply the best practices for organizing the codes. All right. So now Terraform knows that this provider here, or this code here, will be about vSphere, and now it knows. So it knows that, yeah, we are using vSphere, and this is the version. And down below, it's asking you for the credentials. Of course, you'd need to log on to something, so you need to define these. It's defined here as a variable, but I don't care about variables for now. We will get to that point later on how to use variables. But let's define them manually here for you. What I'm about to do is not a best practice, and it's not advised at all. I will be putting my credentials, my Home Lab credentials, in the code just for the training purposes, but in production, you should never do this. You should never put your credentials hard-coded in your code. Because if your laptop gets stolen or compromised or anything, someone will be able to get your password and credentials, which is pretty dangerous. But just for the lab purposes, I will be using, I will putting them there. I don't care if you feel free to attack my Home Lab. I don't care. All right. So this is, of course, the admin account that you are using for to access your vSphere, of course, because Terraform would need to authenticate to your vCenter server or your ESXi server. Okay. At vSphere, what the hell, here, local. My password is, okay. There are best practices, of course. You can hide it in an environment variable on your machine. You may also, Terraform would also prompt you to enter the value for the password, and maybe we can try it in the next video, but it's not practical, because each time you run the command Terraform, you will be asked to enter your credentials, which is not ideal at all. If you run this command several hundred times a day, yeah, it won't work for you. And here, the vSphere server. So in my case, I will be putting the vCenter server fqdn vmware-v02.eitn.local, and I guess that's correct. Yeah, let me check my URL. Sometimes I forget. vmw-vc02. I think it's correct. Yeah, right. Okay, guys. So the provider is set, and the credentials are correct. Are set as well. This is the timeline for the transactions or the operations of Terraform to run against your vCenter for the API calls. So the default is 10 minutes. You can increase it if needed, but yeah, let's just keep it to the default for now. But if you'd run big operations, then you definitely need to increase that that value. Okay, now what? Okay, we need to put the code to create a virtual machine. What is the base element that you need to do this apart from the code? you need a virtual machine image. So if you are already using Google Cloud or Azure or something like that, you definitely know what the images there are. And I believe, of course, that if you have already experience with VMware, that you are familiar with the VMware templates for the virtual machine templates. So you need a template to clone from, to use. Can you create a VM from scratch with no templates just by hooking an ISO image? Yes, but you still need to take care of automating the settings of the OS. Otherwise, the operation of Terraform will not succeed in provisioning your virtual machine. So just keep it easy. When we speak of automation, you definitely need a template to use. So make a template prepared. For Linux virtual machines, you need to have the package Cloud Init installed on your Linux machine. Otherwise, the deployment will also fail because the code will not be able to customize the operating system. Okay, like defining an IP address or putting a host name, it will not work and it will fail. I'm not sure about Windows, to be honest, but yeah. Okay, let's scroll down the page here, and it's the page here for the vSphere virtual machine code. Let's scroll down a little bit here, and yeah, here is a very first sample code. I will go through this briefly right now, but let's just copy the correct one. So I need the one for cloning. I'm not interested in just a standalone VM. I mean, in a VM from scratch. I need something from to be cloned, to clone a VM from a template. So I'm going to use this code here. I will explain what does exactly each of these mean in a second, but let me review it very quickly. Yeah, it's missing something here actually. Yeah. Okay, the disk, the clone, it's missing something here as well, which is not nice at all. Yeah, we need to be sure that all of the missing parts are put, because that code is missing a lot of information over there, and it can just work like that, which is fine. We will correct it together. Yeah, so let's just keep it simple here. What I need is I need to clone a VM, so we definitely template UUID. We definitely need these. Okay, so let's just copy the code and then make the necessary changes later on. I need just to scroll down a little bit to check something on the page, because maybe they have something new here, or maybe I'm confused. Okay, you can also deploy an OVA, a VM from an OVA, so it's worth exploring the entire page, right? So first things first, let's make it quick and simple here, and let's copy the code for normal VM, and then I will be making few necessary changes to make it work as a clone, because it's missing part of the codes. I don't really know why they do it like this, but yeah, for cloning here, it's missing a couple of stuff here that will make our implementation failure. So it's missing something called firmware, and yeah, which is fine. We can just deploy and have it faulty and correct it together. I don't mind at all, but the less problems we would face, the better. Yeah. So this example clones a Linux template and customizes the provided settings. Okay, let's copy this one and let's spend some time tweaking the code, which is fine. So you usually, when you do something new, you will spend some time figuring out how to, in terms of the code, to make the code meeting the needs that you need. Yeah, just my light, right? And then right after, you will be just copying and pasting, and it will be really simple for you. No worries. It's this is how infrastructure as a code in the beginning is a little bit painful, but this is not a negative thingy. It's I consider it a positive thing to see. All right, so now let's explain a bit about the code. I guess that you can see here the building blocks. We have discussed the provider already, and let's check here within the next 5 minutes. And I believe, of course, I will split this video into 2 videos. This topic, I mean. Okay, so data. So in the code of Terraform, this is called a block of code. Okay, and the type of this block is types called data. We have here a type called provider, and down below we will see other types, for example resource. So this is another type. Okay, and yeah, so this block of code is called is in a type called data. And what does it do actually? When you see or use a block of code called data, it's going to fetch data from the existing implementation. You need to get anything, a name, an IP address, an ID or something of an existing resource, right? So this is when you use data, and the vision will be more clear and clear when we go down the road. Okay, so now it's fetching the data for the data center object from our vCenter server. So here, if we go back to my vCenter server, here if you can see, I have here the data center, and it's called data center. All right, so yeah, we need to define this because the ID of the data center will be needed for the resources to be provisioned, because the virtual machine will need to know, okay, where do you want me to be provisioned, on a host, on a cluster, or under which data center, on which resource pool. So you need to give all of these pieces of information. I will call this here data center. So this type of resource, Terraform resource, it's called vSphere data center, and this here between the quotes is a label for this block of codes. It's nothing but a label. It doesn't hurt if you put any kind of naming you'd love here. It won't hurt anything, and it's not going to be reflected in your vSphere implementations or provisioning. What matters is this here, the values within the block. Yeah, so now I have identified or declared that the data center I have is called data center. Okay, and you should update this, or use the information, the correct information from your environment. Another data block about the data store. Okay, the virtual machine needs a data store. So what data store? Okay, again, this is just a label, but I will give it a name. I will call it NVMe, 01, because I have a data store here called NVMe. Where is it? Data stores. No, this is data center. Oh, sorry, data stores. So this is the NVMe 01 data store. So I gave it that name, NVMe data store. And the name of the data store itself is not data store 01. Of course, it's NVMe 01. Okay. And it needs to know where exactly is that data store, under which data center. So yeah, it's referring here, fetching the information. It's getting the ID, because here it's asking for what is the data center ID, which is this one over there. So it needs to fetch the ID from the data center. So here, it's data, which is this data resource, dot the resource type, which is vSphere data center, dot the name of the label here, which is still the same, and dot ID. Okay, you got the idea, I hope. Next, what else do we need for our virtual machine to be provisioned, it needs a cluster or it needs a host. I will amend this because we need a host, but this is how you declare a cluster. But I'm changing this here. Host, and this is called, I will just call this host. Okay, I have one host in my lab, so I don't care. But here, of course, I need to put the correct name for the ESXi host. Okay, so I will grab the name from here. This is this is the host name, and this is my name, the name of the hosts. Put it over there. And what time is it? Oh, okay, so now this video is 25 minutes long. Okay, I will just correct this and end it up here. Nice. Okay, I'm saving the file. All right, I will round off this video, and yeah, just to keep it short. And then yeah, see you in the second part of this point. Just yeah, stay tuned.